everyone. My name is Jennifer Joe, and I am here with Ami Bhatt for the first episode of our MedTech Insights, a live interactive talk show on digital health. We're glad to bring this to you. Love to welcome you. Ami, I'd love for you to say something.
Absolutely. Great to see you all today. So I'm Dr. Ami Bhatt. I'm the Director of Outpatient and Telecardiology at Mass General Hospital. I also work with the American College of Cardiology and the American Heart Association. But most importantly, really interested in digital health and med tech and where the future of heart health, but also, medicine in general is going.
So, Director of Outpatient and Telecardiology.
Jennifer and I are extremely excited to have all you here today. One of our goals is to take people and bring them onto the show, really just to chat. We're going to do a half hour every Tuesday. Come on your lunch hour, eat in the background, and go ahead and meet some people that you've been wanting to meet for a long time, or maybe meet somebody new. We'll have people from industry, we'll have digital health startups, we'll have venture capitalists, and we'll have academics. So a little of everything for everyone.
So we'd like to encourage everyone to bring your questions, post your questions. We're going to take them in the chat section. See this as an opportunity to ask all your dying questions. So I do want to just talk a little bit about Ami so that everyone knows what type of questions to ask Ami. Ami, you've been a cardiologist for 20, 30 years now. Is that right? Your primary
Yeah. Wow. How does that happen?
I think I'm like mid-career now.
I think we're solidly mid-career now.
So you've been a practicing cardiologist specializing in pediatrics, and you're leading the Mass General telecardiology program. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So I was trained in medicine and pediatrics.
Cardiology and the American Heart Association.
Interestingly, what that led me to was adult congenital heart disease. So people who grow up who have heart disease when they're young, and then when they grow older, need to kind of find a place in people who can take care of them. And that actually led me in 2013 to telemedicine, because I took care of young people with heart disease, and they were in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, and really busy. And it was hard to get people to come into clinic, especially when they had a history of heart disease, and maybe their parents used to drag them in as a kid, and they didn't really want to have to come to the hospital if they didn't need to. So started telemedicine in 2013, and I have to say, COVID has very few silver linings, but one of them is the nobody puts baby in the corner moment for me, which was, we were really trying to convince regulators, industry, heart health, and medicine in general that telemedicine was going to be a good thing. And COVID showed us that, in fact, it is. It's great for access, and it's great for really developing the future of how we're going to care for patients. So that brought me to Jennifer Joe. Jennifer, you probably are very well known to the majority of the people who are watching today, but Jennifer is a nephrologist and an ER doc, and is really able to do everything clinical, but then also is able to build med tech companies that really have made a difference in the way we practice medicine and educate each other. So this is a great honor to do this together with you.
Yeah, very excited to be chatting with you, Ami, and really was inspired when you brought it up. I think it was born out of the idea that we're asked a lot of questions of what happens in our daily lives. You as a cardiologist, myself as an emergency medicine physician, urgent care physician, and hospitalist. And what it's like, and then where we see digital health, telemedicine, remote patient monitoring fitting in. So we're excited to be chatting about this today. And I have been working with Ami for a while now on a textbook that we're, I think, finalizing.
It is at the publisher. Springer Publishing has it in hand.
What can we talk about? Can we talk about the textbook and what to expect?
I think we can. This is going to be the first textbook. It'll be an ebook too, since we use so much online, of really healthcare transformation in cardiology. And we're honored to have authors who are current and past heads of the American Telemedicine Association, people with legal expertise, those who have run large outpatient programs, and really digital health entrepreneurs. So it's a great compilation of really proactive thoughts on how we can use telemedicine and digital health to further the field of cardiology at a far faster pace than we've ever done before. So it should be out in the next couple of months, and we'll let you guys know more because we'll be with you every week.
I'm very excited. It was a hustle to put that together. But kudos to you, Ami, for driving the future of digital medicine, bringing education to academic centers, fellows, residents, students. Very excited about it. So every week we're going to have two different guests, and we have two amazing guests today, Colleen Harrington and Alicia Chong Rodriguez. And so, Ami, Colleen Harrington,
Colleen Harrington, amazing colleague. So she's an assistant professor of medicine at the University of Massachusetts, Worcester. She's also the co-founder of the cardio obstetrics program there, really a new field looking at maternal health that she has helped grow. She's the associate fellowship program director and well known for doing education. And most importantly, she's the governor-elect of the Massachusetts American College of Cardiology, and really is going to take us into the future over the next 3 years. So maybe we'll give a little more introduction to Colleen and then bring her on.
Yeah, so I think we have a wonderful video that I'm going to share and then bring on Colleen. So very excited to have you, Colleen.
Thank you so much, Ami and Jennifer, for having me here today. It's really an honor, and really excited to talk about a subject that's really near and dear to my heart of cardiovascular disease in women. So thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with me today about this really important topic.
Absolutely. So you're wearing red, and this is Heart Month. And so this is a big month for us as cardiologists. Maybe, Colleen, will you start by telling people just a little bit about heart health, about this month, about some of the statistics that are really important for us to know?
Absolutely. So as Ami mentioned, February is Heart Awareness Month, and there's the American Heart Association's campaign, Go Red for Women, which is just a fantastic program and just a way of getting the word out. So we know cardiovascular disease is the #1 cause of death for women. And a lot of women don't know that. And this program really promotes education and awareness for women of all ages, not just older women, but young women who are at risk as well. So 1 in 3 of deaths for women is cardiovascular disease. So it's the #1 killer of women. And when we're talking about cardiovascular disease, we're talking about heart attacks and strokes, not just heart attacks. So we lose a woman 1 in every 80 seconds in this country to cardiovascular disease. And I know that's distressing and hard to hear, but the silver lining in that 85% of these events can be prevented by knowledge, education, and action. And what we're talking about is actually modifying your risk factors for heart disease. So they're distressing numbers, but we can do a lot about this with action and education.
That's great. So Colleen, just tell us a little bit for all the people who are out there watching. Do women, there's this idea that women don't present with heart disease the way men do, that it may be confusing. Is that a truth? Is that a fallacy? Just a little bit of awareness for our audience before we dig into the digital health.
That's true. I mean, that's something that we learned in medical school, you know, that women might present differently. I think that's still possible where women will present with shortness of breath. But as Ami and I were discussing recently, a study 2 years ago actually showed that women present just as commonly with the typical symptoms. So I think it's, you know, if you have symptoms of shortness of breath or chest pain or heaviness, a little bit of nausea and upper abdominal pain, it really could be a lot of things, but it's important to talk to your providers and your cardiologist, your healthcare team, to figure out if this is in fact a cardiac cause of your symptoms. So I think it's still debatable. I think you have to have a high index of suspicion, particularly women with cardiac risk factors. So I think the jury is still out about that, but when I look at a woman in the emergency room, I ask her all of these symptoms and not just assume she's going to present in a different way than men, just so that we make sure that she gets the care she needs.
That's great. So as we look forward and we look at kind of telemedicine and digital health, COVID certainly changed how people are interacting. Do you find that in your practice and at UMass, you're seeing a lot more digital health telemedicine used? And do you think some of these things are helpful? Do you think we're going to catch more disease or help people take better care of their health using these devices?
Absolutely. I mean, I completely agree with you. There's not been a lot of positive things that have come out of COVID, but digital health and telemedicine has really expanded in a way that I think a lot of us didn't anticipate before the pandemic. So I think, and I feel many physicians, not just cardiologists and healthcare providers, feel that digital health is the future. It's really a game changer. So for one, our expansion as healthcare professionals and our reach is so much more wider with digital health. So people that live in rural communities, people who have barriers to even get to their appointments, women with children, women with, taking care of elderly parents or males, they have these restrictions and they have difficulty making these appointments. And digital health really changes that. It really changes the platform for that. It engages patients, so they have direct access to their medical records and their health care and quick access. So it's responsive and sustainable in communicating with their providers and their healthcare team. So it allows better access. I think it improves communication and overall with the goal of improving quality of care. It engages the patients to even self-monitor and track their symptoms and discuss that with their providers. And it changes the doctor-patient relationship in the way that it improves transparency, trust, and really a partnership. Patients really love it. My experience here is they want more and more of telemedicine and digital health. So it's here to stay, and it's only going to grow.
So, Colleen, thank you for joining us. And I really love your background, your hard at work. You've just ducked into a colleague's room. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. I'm on service right now. Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate the time, especially this weekend when we were doing the prep. One of the questions that I get, I'm an emergency room physician, and telemedicine hasn't changed the way I practice as much because I'm in the ER. What is the everyday life like for someone practicing cardiology telemedicine? Is it all video? Is it video and phone? Is it written? What does it actually look like right now?
Right. That's a great question. And it's evolving constantly as the technology continues to improve and improve. I will say initially we were doing mostly phone calls and now transitioned mostly to a video platform. My patients, and in general, tend to be older. That doesn't mean that heart disease doesn't affect younger women, but my patients are older and they do struggle a little with technology. I think that is one obstacle for digital health. A lot of my patients don't have smartphones, and they have difficulty with computers. So would love to help them with community programs in the future, but that's on the side note right now because of COVID. So right now we have some patients that still like to come into the office, but primarily we're doing video visits. They check their vitals before they talk to me. We review their medications and recent diagnostic testing. If they have something that's concerning, then I will ask them to come in. But if they're doing well and we go through our systems check and we follow up in 6 months at a regular time, and it's working really well. The patients love it. Again, like I said, they want more and more of this. The convenience, they love the access to me. It's just been a win-win. So it's only going to continue to expand.
That's great. So when we think about you, as the incoming governor of the Massachusetts ACC, we have
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We have a lot of digital health. We have a lot of tech startups in the Boston area. And as we start to think about, people who want to have access to cardiologists, there's nearly 900, 1,000 cardiologists in the state of Massachusetts. So much kind of experience and brain power about what it means to bring digital health. Do you envision that during your tenure, there's going to be kind of a digital health innovation group in Massachusetts, that they're going to be cardiologists that people can come to through the American College of Cardiology and start to engage in conversations directly with startup companies and people who need some more access?
Absolutely. I mean, that's such a good point. And when I ran for governor, my platform included the expansion of digital health. We're so fortunate in Massachusetts to have so many fantastic colleges, universities, and companies to collaborate with. So in addition to expanding and improving cardiovascular health in women, also physician well-being, digital health was one of my platforms and one of my missions in the 3 years of my term to make it completely different than when I started. So I'm really excited about this. This is the future of medicine. It's good for our healthcare professionals. It's good for our patients. It's just like I said, it's a win-win for everyone. So it's an investment that's worth the time, the energy, and the financial cost as well.
That's fantastic. Well, maybe this might be a good time, Dr. Joe, to start thinking about our startups and a relatively well-established company, Bloomer Health. Shall we bring Alicia on too and chat with her a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for segueing into our next guest, the CEO and founder of Bloomer Tech. Very excited to have her with us. I've been following Alicia's progress for a while now. She's got an amazing bra that you can do a multi-lead EKG monitoring, but the form factor is impressive. The attention, I think, to women are impressive. And before we bring her out, she's got a lot of insight into the need for more data in terms of data gathering for, what is it like for a woman to have a heart attack? What is it like for, how do we distinguish that between GERD? And I was hoping, since I have two wonderful cardiologists here, if you guys could weigh in on where the data is, and then we're going to bring Alicia and she's going to tell us more about the data. But do we need more data, or are we on par with the data we're getting from male patients? Where are we?
Colleen, I'm going to let you take this one. I see that vigorous head shaking, and I agree.
Yeah. So when we talk about gaps in cardiovascular care for women, the biggest area that we're really lacking is the data. Women in general were not included in many of the early major landmark trials, or if they were, it was a very small percentage of that population that was studied. That's improving. So things are getting better, but not anywhere near where it should be. So gender-based research, focused research is an area that we have to improve on. We need more data in women as far as diagnostic testing, their symptoms, as we've discussed, how they respond to medications, how they respond to procedures. It's not the same as men. And so we need to do more and more. We need to find out a lot more than what we know right now. Things are improving, but we've got a ways to go.
Yeah.
With that said, I think we're going to show a little video about Alicia and then bring her out.
The ability to obtain physiologic data from low-cost sensors has the potential to revolutionize the way that we diagnose and treat women with cardiovascular disease. Until recently, most of the data that are used for clinical decision-making were obtained from cohorts that were mainly composed of men.
We were struck by the fact that women's health research lags far behind that of our male counterparts. At Bloomer Health Tech, we're driven to guarantee that women's unique physiologies are integrated into the design of treatments through the seamless capturing of our biomarkers.
Hi, Alicia. We're so excited
Hi.
to have you here, and I just love that video of you. It's very impressive. This is Heart Health Month. So glad that you can join us.
Yes, no, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I've been following along with what you've been doing and the founding of Bloomer Tech. I was hoping you could share a little bit more about what you're doing with Bloomer Tech and what inspired you to start the company.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, as was mentioned in that video, and we were very struck about the reality that women's health research lags far behind that of our male counterparts. And I think kind of what Dr. Colleen said before, we decided to take action. We're women in technology. My background is in electrical engineering and computer science, and I joined the MIT Computational Cardiovascular Research Group. And we realized that the quality of the data and the quantity of data in women is missing. And for the future of artificial intelligence and all of these digital health tools that we're envisioning, if we don't have high quantity of data and high quality of data, then we're not building the optimal tools we're basically repeating the same mistakes of the past. And we knew that we could make change, and we were very driven to do something about it and take action, which is why we've created these medical grade sensors that integrate seamlessly into an everyday bra, which is easy to wear because you never forget to wear your bra every day. And it looks and feels like any other bra. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
And it looks and
we're all working
yeah,
from home
the pandemic has changed a few things, but yeah, you typically, it looks and feels like any other bra that you've ever seen. Like I have one of our old prototypes here.
Oh,
so,
wow. This is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, so we've been working on our new batch of prototypes because we got funding last year, so we became the first VC-backed company in this space. Thank you. Yeah, so we've been working hard on scaling our products.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I know that you've been working with some women and they've been wearing it, and it's a working prototype. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So we have working prototypes, and we've done early feasibility studies at the MIT Clinical Research Center, and we're preparing to launch our new design, which we're very excited about because we brought on board a very talented award-winning bra designer. So, and we've been working with other partners to make this happen.
That's fantastic. So things that you maybe can't say, but I through word of mouth can probably say is not only do you have a talented designer, fashion designer working with you, you also, I believe, and you don't have to shake your head, have companies that actually sell bras and are in this industry, perhaps in our local mall, who are interested in carrying your bras in their stores. So I'll leave it at that. I know you can't say anything, but I'm really excited for you. So you brought up something really important though, right? Which is, if patient adoption doesn't happen in digital health, then digital health doesn't really mean much. So form and function both need to be there. And so what I love is the idea that the bra is something that in fact women are going to wear every day. And you're making it such that we are going to get, as cardiologists, a lot of continuous information, not just episodic. I'm seeing Dr. Harrington in the clinic once every 6 months. Here's my vital signs today. But what happens when we're out there in the community? And I think that's really important for people to recognize. We want continuous data as cardiologists. And we want to be able to see that data, because the trends that happen in between your visits with us is actually where the real health happens, and allows us to get in there early sometimes and make changes before you present to the ER, before you present to urgent care. Can you say, Alicia, a little bit, without giving away too much of what you're doing, a little bit about the type of data that somebody may get if they wear your bra or prescribe your bra for somebody?
Yes. So it's what you're raising. It's actually a really good point, because when we were developing our product, we realized like we want to change the category of what a medical device looks like, right? Like it should be seamless, integrated into your everyday life. And how can we get the best quality of data for the physicians to provide better care for their patients with this, instead of a snapshot, like a video of their life, right? Like instead of just a picture. So we take advantage of her whole torso. We're around her torso, so you can see with multi-lead ECG different areas of her heart. We can do activity tracking, position. We also have a very good way to identify different symptoms so that we can tag symptomatic events, and we also have asymptomatic events. So it's very exciting for us, because when we look at a medical device, you usually don't see a bra. So we do think that we're changing the way people feel with one of these devices, because we like that also can affect the patient. Like if you have like something bulky or that makes you feel sick instead of sexy, then
I love it. I love it. That's great.
I'm going to wear my Holter monitor to my next date.
There you go.
And is it GERD or is it chest pain? We don't know.
My goodness.
The cardiologist will tell me. So I am fascinated. I don't know as much about the heart as my cardiologist friends. I have amazing cardiologists here. What will be the impact on the data, Colleen and Ami, now that we're able to take a continuous snapshot, but also a snapshot that captures the heart from 360, whereas before it's typically just on the front 12 lead. What do you think the impact of that will be?
So Colleen, I'm going to have you take this, but can you also comment before you start that to people on how effective are we in general at getting EKGs in women? What are your thoughts on that? Because I think that's an important background for people to know, and then to jump into, the 360 EKG.
Right. That's a great point. So even just a standard electrocardiogram has its challenges with women because of our breast tissue. So I'm sure Ami can agree that a lot of consults I get or outpatient visits are for an abnormal electrocardiogram, which is actually lead misplacement. And that isn't anyone's fault. It's just that the woman's anatomy is clearly different than a male. And it has to be accustomed to, because the leads go under the left breast or around the left breast, because that's where the heart is. So when women come in with a heart attack or chest pain, you do wonder whether or not you're always getting that accurate EKG. You can always repeat it, but it's a real everyday problem with women because of their breast tissue. As far as this data, one is just that it's so reproducible, because the leads will be always in the same place, every time that you put the bra on. So my women that when I send them with a Holter monitor, which is a 24-hour monitoring or 7-day or 4-week monitor, they're taking the leads on and off because they can't shower with it. Sometimes they get some irritation from the leads, and a lot of times they tell me they had no symptoms during the entire monitoring part, and then lo and behold, they send it in, it's negative, and 2 weeks later they have symptoms. So, and that's a story that I think every cardiologist and internist experiences, that the patient has these symptoms, you monitor them, you find nothing, and then you end that surveillance monitoring period, and then they have the symptoms again, and then you're back to wearing another monitor and hoping you're capturing what they're feeling. So that amount of data is really just priceless, and the reproducibility, particularly for women, and lead misplacement with other ways of tracking the heart, I think are really, it's just so innovative and just such a creative product.
So Dr. Harrington, you hit the nail on the head, right? Not only do we need more data in women, we need reproducible, reliable data in women. And that is what this kind of a device will offer. About a year ago, we were in Las Vegas. I presented at the Consumer Electronics Show, and CES has kind of a digital health track now. Would be fun to be in Vegas now. Alas, that's not going to happen. But there were companies there. Yeah, there were a lot.
Talk about big data,
Exactly.
data.
But there were a lot of companies companies, right? There's a t-shirt company that I met with, right? And there are a lot of companies trying to get to the heart. And I really think that you guys went that extra step and said, if we're going to target women, let's go exactly for what women need, and let's be reproducible about that data. Let's have reliable data. And so I'm excited to see, you know, what else comes out of you guys and your collaboration with MIT, and perhaps a future collaboration with the American College of Cardiology. If that happens, that means Jen and I have done our job well in our first show today. So that's great.
So I like the allusion, Ami, to the collaboration with the American College of Cardiology. We have Colleen Harrington. Dr. Harrington's the new governor-elect. Ami, you're very integrated into the ACC. The ACC, or American College of Cardiology, has a strong presence, it seems like, in digital health, and is really driving a lot of digital health innovation and even partnering with startups and supporting them. Is that right?
Yeah. So there's an ACC innovation section. It's led by Dr. John Rumsfeld and a great group of individuals who really go out there and meet with these companies and take the time to think about, you know, what are the potential companies that we could interact with, and how do we help those collaborations happen, so that even though very bright, very scrappy companies are not kind of desperately always looking for connections, right? Because we're also looking to give advice, they're looking to get some. So that's been great. There's actually an Applied Health Innovation Consortium through the ACC too. And I have to say, I'm wearing the AHA banner today. The American Heart Association is equally interested in supporting digital health, but it's very interesting because they really also have a great take on supporting the patient. So we were talking about Colleen's older patients and their ability to engage. And so the idea of digital navigators, getting into the community and helping people have better digital and health literacy to understand how to engage with us. I think both organizations are really going to be great to work with if you're a digital startup, if you're an established industry company. And I think it's going to make a big difference to be able to work with them and have some avenues.
That's really interesting. We have a question from the audience, Eric Cohen. He's asked about respiratory. So Alicia, I don't know, I'm guessing you're collecting data, so you can talk about anything. You can talk about, sorry, Colleen and Ami, forget about the heart. We're moving on.
We're going to the lungs. It's all good. You got to breathe. Alicia, thoughts about respiration, body movement?
Yeah, so we definitely can get respiratory rate, and we've also thought of other things that our sensors have the capability of doing, and also post-processing techniques. One of the most valuable things that I think has happened around this is, like, we started like as women in technology realizing that, oh my God, there's a gap, and there's so many areas, and like Dr. Colleen said, like heart disease is the #1 killer, and stroke is the #1 cause of disability, and it affects women significantly, right? So how do we do something about it, and realizing that there's women in cardiology that are also looking into these problems, and that have led us to realize how we can build models, right? Like algorithms that are non-biased, that we can use good quality of data. We can understand what features to add to those models that are often not in models, like gestational diabetes, or if they had any challenges throughout her lifespan as a woman, that can be part of these algorithms. So I think really doing sex-specific algorithms for any part, for any disease that we think about, like if you think about respiratory diseases, but if you think of any others, like the more data that we have and the more people that are interested in collaborating with how we are going to use this data for prognostic evaluation and different predictions for risk stratification, the better. We need to join forces because we've learned so much from amazing physicians that have helped us throughout our journey, and we hope to keep building on that.
So I can see, Alicia, in response to Eric's question for you, version 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 of the bra, where maybe you have the ability to kind of see how the respirations occur, not just respiratory rate, but depth of respiration, strength of the muscles, right? We can measure things like negative inspiratory force, and we measure diaphragms, how well they work, but even down the road, I can see impedance and thinking about respiratory, meaning is there fluid in the lungs or not? So I think there's just so much more that can come. And Eric, you've your finger on the pulse of what else matters to even cardiologists. Look at that. This is great.
So we're at time. This has been a fantastic discussion with two really impressive women in cardiology, digital health, really driving healthcare innovation. Really appreciate your time and efforts in joining us on MedTech Insights. As we close up, would you like to share last words with what we should be thinking about for February being Heart Health Month?
So again, thank you for having me. This has just been such a wonderful way to spend my afternoon. I would say that the more that women know, the more likely we can beat cardiovascular disease. And if we join forces with technology and medicine, and we can combat this, together. But joining forces, I think, is key to really making an impact on decreasing cardiovascular death. So I'm excited for the future. It's going to be some amazing things coming out. And thanks again.
And thank you for joining us. We're really excited about you being the governor-elect of the American College of Cardiology. We look forward to having you on the show again, updating us with what you're doing. I think it's 2 years that you're going to be representing the American College of Cardiology.
It's
three.
Three. Yeah.
3 years. Oh, that's very exciting.
It's wonderful.
I'm excited. Yeah, thank you.
Alicia, any last words? You're a CEO, founder, focused on women and data, focused on women's cardiac disease, but also you're just a fantastic representation of dreaming big, founding a company. You did it at MIT, so you're a woman in STEM. Just really impressed by what you're doing. Any last words to encourage women and everyone for February Heart Health Month, because men and women have heart attacks. We all have heart attacks. I haven't had one yet. I'm waiting for my first one.
No.
But I had chest pain over the weekend after my vaccine. And I just said, I'm going to ignore it. Sorry,
well, they
Alicia.
always say talk to your cardiologist.
I should have. I did talk to the cardiologist this weekend. I should have had a Bloomer Tech bra. I want the black lacy one.
Nice.
Alicia,
no, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Like, honestly, it's very inspiring to be around women like you that are making a lot of impact on the field. And we just continue to learn so much from these type of conversations. So being here it's really a great opportunity. As a closing, Heart Month is a very special month to us, not only because awareness is raised, it's because that's what inspired us to take action and do something about it. Like we grew up in a world where we realized that most of the medical devices, drug development that exists today has been using data that is mostly from men. And we could accelerate the process because we want to build a future where AI and the digital tools also include women, and even better, they become personalized to each individual's unique physiology, right? So I think we will be on track if we get continued support. So I appreciate all of the support that you've given us throughout this journey. We keep growing and moving forward thanks to these type of opportunities.
Thank you.
So sweet. Fantastic. Well, this has been extraordinarily fun. Jen and I are excited because we get to do this again next week, Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern. We will have more guests. We're going to look a little into telemedicine platforms. We're going to look into some well-established companies who are already out there in the digital health space and see if anybody has questions for them in terms of how they got as big as they did and how they did it even before the assistance of COVID, which a lot of us have relied on. Speaking of COVID, please continue to mask and stay safe. And despite Jennifer Joe saying she had chest pain after the vaccine this weekend, what am I going to do with you? Please, when the vaccine becomes available for you, if you are already a first responder or in the healthcare industry, please do go get it, get both doses. And for those who are waiting for the rollout, we realize it can be frustrating, but it is coming. So when your turn comes, please do go get those vaccines and help keep each other safe.
And if you do have chest pain, talk to your cardiologist. I will echo that. We have amazing cardiologists. Thank you, everyone.
Great.